So I'm here with my pal Liron Segev. We just came from the Made on YouTube exclusive invite-only conference with people like the CEO of YouTube. They're talking about some of the features that are going to be coming up to all of us as creators in the future.
This morning, we'll tell you how we're making it easier for anyone to create on YouTube.
Now, some of these are available right now, and some of them are going to be slowly released over they said the end of this year.
Beginning of next year,
and then into, however many months that takes to get them actually up and running to all regions.
We launched YouTube Shorts in 2020 because we wanted everyone to be able to create videos right from their phones. And Shorts is now averaging over 70 billion daily views. That's up from 50 billion just in January.
We wanted to bring you up to speed with what we heard so that you know everything that we know from the inside looking back out.
We want to make sure that we're getting the right message that it's out there. YouTube has a great mission to make sure that anybody who wants to is able to broadcast themselves and get their message out and be heard, which I think is fantastic. And they've got tools. We're going to try and make it easier because let's be honest, all of us know that you don't just pop out a channel and amazingly you get millions of subscribers and millions of views. If only it was that easy.
Yeah.
It just isn't. But the good news is that it's getting easier.
So let's start from the top. There was 4 new features. The very first feature that I want to talk about is that they've added something called AI-powered music search. Now that's something I think they've said, they've been building up the creator music. It used to be YT audio, YouTube audio, where you could go in there and you could actually grab tracks to use royalty-free. We've seen that expand recently where there's actually some higher tier stuff and you can actually license some royalty-free music where it all used to be free. They've expanded the catalog. And I think that what we're seeing is they're slowly trying to make the move to get more mainstream music available to creators on a licensing basis. So it sounds like what they're trying to do with this first feature as they roll it out is they're going to create an assistant that they say is going to help you find the right music for your video. What did you catch when they were explaining that? How did you take that to mean?
I think it was more of a, look, as creators, we know that background music sets the scenes. You have a very dramatic scene, you want dramatic music, you have something that's building up, you want that excitement. And sound design, which is what the official fancy schmancy name is, when you do sound design, it really helps build out that scene. But we struggle, let's be honest, because we're trying to find a song that matches that mood, and we often spend many hours going through kind of trying to find the right fit. And ultimately, I don't know about you, but I tend to repeat the same 3 or 4 songs that I know can't work.
I am that way. I tend to find ones that work for me, and I'm not afraid to come back to that same bucket.
100%. And it may not be lyrical, it might be just audio only, little sampling, but we kind of tend to reuse. So with this new system, the way we understood it, because remember, this is still hot off the presses, we haven't seen it in action yet, so just that disclaimer, the way we've seen it is that you'll upload your video clip and you'll say, hey, help me find the right music. And it will start making some suggestions to say, these are the kind of tracks that fit really nicely within this genre.
Right.
And I must say, I don't mind it. I need some suggestions. I may go through that and it may work or it may not.
Right.
But at least it's giving me a little bit of that assistance trying to get me from point 0 to point 1.
Again, I think that's another one of those situations we said earlier where they're trying to work with creators who are just coming to the platform or maybe earlier in their journey, and they aren't necessarily epidemic sound license holders or whatever the case, story blocks or wherever you get your music from. They want to have this in-house so these options are available for you.
As with every tool, every tool is going to just help us make that better content, get that more engagement with our viewers, get more people excited to watch the video. We welcome that kind of help.
Yeah, path of least resistance. How do we make it easy for creators who want to use YouTube to get music into their videos that match the attitude of the video? That's what they're going to be releasing. So that's step number 1.
Do we give that a thumbs up or a lukewarm?
So here's the upside of it. Having that, for me, you tell me what you think. For me, having that stuff right built into YouTube, which it's kind of been there before, but now they're integrating the AI, which helps you more readily find the track that might suit your needs. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. What they were less clear about, and I'm assuming, is they've moved over the period of years where they've integrated more of those licensable tunes that you can pay for. And some of those licenses, I got to be honest, I get a little nervous with because they're not always lifetime or grandfathered licenses. They may, the publishing copyright holder might actually change their terms, and we're not grandfathered anymore. You may have to, you may find yourself in a situation where you used a song from the YouTube audio library, or the creator music, as they're calling it now, I believe. And in a year from now, that could potentially be something that you either have to renew the license or be taken off the shelf, and now you have a video with the wrong song behind it that you don't have the rights to. So as that rolls out, I'm interested to see which way that leans.
I think that's a good point, where longevity and the future, we don't know it. So I would be still very careful. But as with everything, they're pretty clear about their licensing. So before you purchase anything, there's a little I button. Click on that and see what the responsibility is. My guess is that they're going to have some paid for stuff, some free stuff. And I think that they kind of know how the system works from a YouTube point of view. Once something is in the program, I think they must have some sort of a lockdown period. But then the biggest question is, at a certain point, does it roll over? Yeah. And then, of course, one side note here, never, ever, ever use something you don't have a license for. And you'll see a lot of these online, free music for your YouTube video that you don't have a license for. And the idea is they try to get you to use it. And then some big label buys all those little tracks, and then they monetize it. And now,
from you,
all your revenue has just gone to them. So, just a heads up.
I think overall we think this is sort of a out of a 1 out of a 10. This is probably a 5, somewhere in the middle. Could be really useful for some people. Might not change the game for others.
I agree with that.
Okay. Well, the next big thing that we heard them talk about, and a lot of this is centered around AI. They're really trying to grasp hold of the AI trend and integrate that for creators on YouTube. The next thing we saw, which I thought was actually pretty cool, is they're going to be introducing AI dubbing. And that means you'll be able to use features within YouTube to allow the software to dub different languages into your video. So people, I happen to record in English. Most of all of my content's in English, sometimes jumbled English, sometimes Boston accent, hard to hear and understand, but sometimes English. And we've always had subtitles and things like that. So the ability, they added this a couple of years ago, in the last couple of years, where we can get subtitles in different languages. You can say, I'd like this subtitled in German or Spanish. But now they're going to actually be doing dubbing, where you can actually have your whole voice replaced using AI. What are your thoughts on that?
I want to go two surfaces, right? Okay. On the surface, I think it's a great positive step, simply because not everyone on the planet, I know it's going to be difficult to hear, not everybody on the planet speak the English.
What?
I know. So it's a situation of there is this untapped audience worldwide that may love your content, but they struggle to follow along as you're speaking in your super fast English. I speak very quickly. I get told it in my videos all the time. And this is going to really help those countries, those people in those countries who want to hear it in their native tongue. Right. So I think that's a great step forward. I think we've seen the likes of a Mr. Beast using the same system, being able to take his same content and being able to have multiple languages appealing to people literally from around the world. I do like that. I will say these services are available right now outside of YouTube. You will have to pay per minute, which is a typical licensing model, and you get an audio track that you can bring into YouTube. So this is not groundbreaking new stuff.
Well, but let's stay there. The idea, yes, it's not something that's brand new, but from what we understand, all of these features are free. Everything they're adding, there's no paywall between that feature, which is on you, the creator, no matter what the size.
100%.
That's a huge difference for a lot of people.
And that's stopped me and a lot of other creators from really diving into this multiple language thing, because there's a huge cost factor associated. Let's be honest, a 10, 20-minute video dubbed into another language it can cost.
Right.
So now if this is free and part of your workflow, and you can tick a little box saying, hey, I want this in the following languages as well.
Out of a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not that useful for creators and 10 being exceptionally useful for creators, where would you put this on that scale?
I'm saying if it's free, which is the big if, okay, if it's free and it's available to everyone, why would you not want to use that? Okay. sidebar, the biggest question is going to be, what's going to happen to CPMs?
Right.
Okay, what's going to happen to RPMs? Because now you have a situation where your main channel is in English, let's just say, and you get a really decent CPM. Again, let's just say. Now, if you're trying to bring multiple languages in, and now they're going to calculate CPM based on those languages.
Based on the region.
Does it impact you as a creator and know your CPM drop?
If it adds to the amount of it, if it doesn't detract from the reach and you're still reaching everyone you did previously, I agree with you. If it starts reaching a part of the world really well because of its dubbed version of it, and that particular part of the world has a low CPM, yeah, I could say, and it starts, and usually starts recommending towards those areas. Yeah, that could. That's a great point.
That's my question is, does it skew your audience?
Right.
Because it's now going to get served more in that country. And then the second bit is, if you're in an English-speaking country and you typically are used to having English-based CPMs, what happens if it starts recognizing that a bigger group of people who live in an English-speaking country would rather listen to this in a non-English way?
Yeah.
Will we see a decrease in the monetization because of that?
We have no answers there, but it's going to be one of those things that as it rolls out, we'll find with anything, right? We'll wait and see how it happens. So again, in terms of usability, so let's take that the revenue off the table. Usability function about 1 to 10. Where would you put it?
Two thumbs up. It's a good. It's a good. I don't know, 7, 8 out of 10.
I agree. I'd say it's a 7 or 8.
Yeah,
strong one.
Would I tick that box? Definitely, no question.
Yeah, if it doesn't seem to really hurt our potential revenue and it's actually reaching more people than we're reaching right now in our target audience, I think that's a fantastic thing. So that's a win.
I think so.
Okay. So one of the others. So the third thing they talked to us about, and we actually like this one a lot, you and I, was the AI insights for creators. And that's literally a new feature where they're going to be using AI to sort of scour the people who have been watching your content, learn a bit about them, learn a bit about the kind of viewing habits they have, and you're going to be able to get in and actually put in some prompts and learn more about the kinds of content that your target audience really connects with, and a little bit more about who they are.
Yeah.
It's a little vague on exactly how it's going to work.
Just a little.
What were your thoughts after hearing the announcement? What did you think? Is it useful? Where do you think there might be flaws in that particular feature?
I want to understand, when it says it's looking at my audience, I want to understand what it's looking at.
Right.
And here's what I mean. Right now, I can go into YouTube Analytics, as everybody else can, and we can go to our demographics, and we can deep dive in, and we can create groups, so we can compare the groups, and we can extract information, and we can make assumption.
And we have things like the research tab that starts showing us content that may be underserved, that there may not be much of, or what our viewers have been really getting interested in related to the kind of stuff we make on our channel. It also shows us in our analytics right now other channels that our target audience that we've been connecting with have been watching. So we get some of that. We get some of it already.
But does this new AI fandangle system, is it going to be more?
Right.
Is it going to look at my channel and my audience and look at their past viewing behavior and look whether they came in through search or through browse traffic? Do they come in through a playlist? Do they come in through the channel pages? Do they stay on my videos for longer or shorter? What's the retention like? Like, does it take all of that into account?
Right.
And get me and say, hey, this is your viewers. This is the kind of content that they would like. Because if it does this, this is the real winner out of absolutely everything AI. As we all know, the better you know your audience, the better you know your avatar, you know the kind of content that they're going to want to see.
Right.
And if this can help us do that, it's game over.
It's a win. And one thing that our friend Loria talked about was she was interested in whether or not the feature was collecting data from the people who are currently watching our video, or if we were able to sort of plug in some prompts so we could say, well, there's a target audience I'm trying to reach. How well am I doing with them? Currently, from the answers we got in-house from the people who are designing these tools and creating these features, that's really right now looking at the people who have been watching your content. So there is the ability to sort of get the wrong message if your content has not been reaching the people that you really consider your target audience.
And then again, we have to ask the question, if we want to grow our audience, maybe we want to change the audience, maybe we want to try a new audience. Is this going to help us?
No.
Or is it going to just confirm what we already know? So a lot of questions, And again, why we started the conversation by saying, would I make radical strategic changes because this tool told me to? No. Would I use it as a tool to understand a little bit more? Absolutely.
Another research tool. And we always think a great point you made when we were talking was all of these other features that they've talked about so far are things that you could do with other software, with other platforms, and then encapsulate and bring into your content. But this is something that no one can really recreate because they're using the data that YouTube knows about your target audience from the inside. Things that it's very hard for third-party software and browser plugins to be able to capture through API calls and things like that.
And of course, it's got to remember, YouTube has this very fine balancing act of protecting your privacy.
Right.
So it's got to kind of walk that walk so that we don't all of a sudden get this access to your personal data and your information. So YouTube has a very hard job here. Will they be able to crack this? I think time will tell. Will we use this as a research tool in the meantime? I think we would.
I would say, so let's think about this. We've talked about the pluses and minuses. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not very usable to most creators and 10 being really useful to most creators, where would you rank this particular Insights feature?
If it works better than the research tab that we have right now,
Which they're telling us it's much better.
if that is true, we all like, grain of salt, mountain, whatever you want to call it. Right? If it is better, then this is a good 6, 7, maybe 8 if it does everything it's supposed to.
Right.
If it isn't that, and it's just a skin of the current stuff that we already can get out of analytics, it's a good solid 4.
I think I agree. I think I'd probably say I would push this up to a good 8 or 9 if it delivers. If it delivers on what we think it can do.
Yeah.
Then I think it gives us more knowledge base to really hone in on our target audience and understand them a little bit better. And that's a win. I think every creator, large or small, would benefit from this one, which isn't true from all the other features that they've talked about releasing.
And if YouTube is watching this, we really want this to work. Like, really, really want this to work. This is the missing piece that every single creator really wants to understand. How can I make content that better serves my audience? And if this is the missing piece, it's an 11, 12, 13, and 15.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
Sky's the limit, right? The more we get that deeper dive data stuff, it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
One other feature that they said that they're going to be coming out with, and they called it Dreams. Wow, I'm going to get this wrong. Dream Screen. It's a tongue twister.
Early next year, we'll introduce an experimental new feature that lets you create AI-generated video or image backgrounds for shorts just by typing in an idea. We're calling it Dream Screen. Here's how it works. I can type in anything I want to see, like say a panda drinking coffee. And then the video image appears just as I imagined it.
So as they explained it, I think some of you who make shorts understand that there was a green screen feature in shorts where you could actually change your background a bit, but they're introducing a new AI assisted feature that allows you to actually create a background for your green screen video just based on prompts. They were showing us videos of, like, say you wanted that you wrote in as a prompt, dragon over New York City, and within seconds, it would produce an image of a dragon flying over New York City that was a moving, engaging, artistic background that you could use right in a short. And they had a bunch of examples of it in action. And considering they just started working on this, it's really in its infancy, I could see where that might be useful for a lot of people who love the replacement background features for shorts.
Right. It's interesting. We've seen a lot of AI background stuff, Midjourney, a whole bunch of other tools that are out there. Grant you, they are very complicated to use.
Yes.
What YouTube does really well is simplify things.
Yeah.
So that you can go into the prompt and go, panda drinking coffee, and a panda drinking coffee will appear, which we've seen. Dog driving my car, and a dog driving the car.
And all animated. Now, keep in mind, these aren't just still images. These are animated sequences that can play behind you.
And we've seen some examples of some creators who are already using this, and they use it very creatively. Like it was volcano raining popcorn, and it was catching popcorn from the volcano. Really cool stuff. Is it for everyone? That's the question.
At this very moment, someone is sitting at their kitchen table dreaming about becoming a creator, dreaming big about their first video and planning their future YouTube channel.
I think the entertainment space will really benefit. I think it's going to be for me personally, in the education space, it's going to be a lot harder to try use those AI tools to make them cool, to make them fun.
Right.
I'm just not a fun person. So my audience doesn't really engage with that. So would I use it? I'm not sure. Is it for everyone? I'm not sure.
What we've announced today will help them not only share their stories, it'll help them reach their full creative ambitions.
I felt the same way. You know what I got? The vibe from this I got was Snapchat. Like Snapchat, when you can change your filters and put ears. It had that kind of feeling to it, but it's really focused on backgrounds. And I think for some people who love that kind of stuff, just want to quickly make a video and maybe they're in their boring bedroom and they wanted to change the background and do something more exciting, I can see how that would make sense for someone who's not really video editing savvy and doesn't know how to create those things in their software. They just want to do it on mobile device, pull it up, click, bang, boom, get it done. For me, scale of 1 to 10, 1 for useful for a lot of creators on the platform, 10 being very, very useful, useless to useful. I'm only going to give this one, for me, it's like a 2 or a 3.
Okay, that's pretty generous.
Where were you going to go? -2?
Maybe a 2. Yeah, I suppose maybe a 2 or a 3. I do see a use case. Again, like disclaimer applies. We haven't played with this yet.
Right.
We could find that by the time we get around to actually using that, we were so wrong. This is the best thing ever. And I put in security and there's a cool lock picks that goes in the background and it really zhuzhes up my editing and it's like really fun, in which case I take it all back. This is all based on breaking news that just happened.
I will say that everyone that we met here, which is a lot of the higher level YouTube team building these features, including the CEO of YouTube who gave the presentation, I think what you have to understand is they really are trying to listen to creators. So we always start to understand that, maybe what they're hearing from creators are things that people say they need, but then will they use it sometimes can be a different answer once they actually put the feature live for them. So again, we'll see what happens with this one. But this was the 5th thing they announced, which was not a YouTube feature.
Right.
It's a new standalone app that they're calling YouTube Create.
When I first arrived at YouTube over 8 years ago, I couldn't have predicted we'd be able to share these announcements with you today. But what's really exciting is that what we've shown you this morning is only the beginning.
You can actually download right now in 8 different countries, starting with the US and working out. If you have an Android device, which is a whole mind blower, that they actually came out. Usually they come out with these things on iOS because it's a consistent platform. They test it, and then we usually see Android later. But right now it's already available for Android users.
Yes. So essentially, it's a brand new app, standalone. So it's not part of YouTube Studio or the YouTube app. And the idea with this is that it's a mobile editing app. Film your videos on your cell phone. You'll then have the raw files saved onto your phone. Fire up the YouTube Create app, and then you'll be able to drag it through, have a timeline, and then do a whole bunch of on-the-fly editing. And you can literally get your short or your long-form video live very, very, very quickly.
And that's an interesting note. They did say, the question was asked, is this just for shorts? And it's not. It's either short or long-form content, 9x16, 16x9. But they're giving us some real, I would call them basic editing features. So it's not super advanced. But some of the features they give us are things like integrating the music from the Creator Music library. They're giving us a feature that a lot of the people that I have talked to in the community use, which is actually beat detection in the music from the YouTube library. Hit a button and it'll demark all the beat points for that song. So if you like to do edits that change with the beat of the music, you'll be able to do this right from an app on your phone that's integrated into YouTube. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and for those of us who are, unlike Daniel, less musically inclined, being able to have a timeline where it's just marked out, like, I'm 2 years old and here is a yellow spot and I cut at that yellow spot and it just sounds amazing. I love it. I think that's great. One thing I did like was the automatic captioning.
Automatic captioning.
So it will display it on the screen and you're able to edit that. I saw some creators had different colors, different fonts, all over the place. It's great. Touch of a button. Everything is kind of done for you.
And we've seen on shorts, a lot of times they move so quickly and they talk so fast like we do, that sometimes they'll put the text right on screen. So that's an easy step for creators that like to do that, have it there. They don't have to type it all out, figure out the font to try to get it in there. They have a great jumping off point. I think the other feature that I thought was cool, but I'll have to see how effective it is is the auto background noise cancellation.
From helicopters, for example.
You see, we have helicopters flying over us. This new feature on the YouTube Create app, you can press a button, it'll go right through and take out things like honking horns in the background, helicopters flying overhead, and clean up your audio so that the background noise around you can be eliminated from the track. Now, we've talked about this on my channel. A lot of times I'll push people towards Adobe has a podcast enhance feature, free online, that has some limitations to it. You can pay for the pro version too, but you can go in there and upload your audio and it cleans it up and makes it sound more full and rich. This one's really doing a similar thing, but I think on a smaller scale, based on the example they gave us. It did clean it up, it did pull the background noise out. It did sound a little muffled. I could hear some artifacts in the example they used, but I thought compared to the track that they played without it, it was much more usable.
And I think that's kind of the point of it. It's instead of having a completely unusable track, you maybe have one that is now usable. Maybe it's not super clear, but at least it's usable. So you didn't lose that footage because of the helicopter that's swirling above your head. As an example, question is for creators. Is it useful to be able to have a phone app that allows you to do editing as you're going through? Because we're already seeing that there's lots of other editing apps on the go.
Yeah.
How is this different?
Well, I think, as they've said to us, we think everything we've talked about today is all going to be free. So that app doesn't have a paywall in front of it. You can download it, use it, and it does a couple other features that I think make it very useful. The thing I think I like about this, it might make it worthwhile for a lot of creators, is it even gives you the ability to do a voiceover on the fly. You could have a project built in here and then decide, well, it was all images and footage and I want to do a voiceover on top of it. And you can record and layer that right in, which I thought was kind of really helpful.
Yeah.
Another thing, an advantage here is this app actually integrates with YouTube in a way that once you're done, you can choose to upload it directly to your channel. So there's one of those interfaces like we could be here, we've got a camera set up, we've got all this going on. We could have done this via mobile, and then I could have quickly edited it sitting here in the New York City Parkway, and then I could have uploaded it to YouTube, done simple, integrated right to my channel. For me as a creator, I'm a desktop DaVinci Resolve using creator. But if I'm on the fly and I'm out and about and I'm trying to get something done quickly that's time sensitive for maybe a story that came out or something that's going on, that could be a great asset to some creators.
So let me ask you this question. So assuming that you had the creator app on your phone, and we just had this breaking news story as we were sitting with the team at YouTube, would you have filmed it on your phone knowing that whilst we're having a cappuccino after the event, you're just going to quickly edit on your phone and get the news out immediately?
It's a 50-50 call there. My gut is always, and I think you and I agree, we're desktop creators. If there's any portion of it that we have to do outside of the app, we're going to do everything outside of the app.
I think from a mobile creator point of view, if you do not use a desktop and you're just using a tablet or you're only using your phone, this is going to be beautiful. You're going to love it. Hopefully it's free. I think they did talk about a paywall versus non-paywall, and so far there's no indication of any features being under the paywall condition, as we heard today. I think you're going to absolutely love it. You upload, you change, you edit, you do your effects, you press a button, and off it goes into YouTube. I think you're going to dig it.
I agree. I think it's going to be one of those ancillary tools that if you love it, you'll love it.
Right.
And if you just really prefer being at home behind a desktop or a laptop editing, I feel it's going to be a tougher sell to get you to switch over and use that frequently. But that being said, knowing my own community, a lot of them are just looking for an easy software that allows them a lower barrier to entry to make content on the go without spending a lot of time learning things like the steep learning curve of DaVinci Resolve, the free version. Free, but a lot of learning curve and still got a high system resource demand. So if you forget how many people don't have $5,000, $10,000 editing computers or a $3,000, $4,000 top of the line, MacBook Pro, something that'll get that done easy, can handle the software. I think the way they've sort of explained this is you're going to download this app, you've got it, it just takes footage that's already on your phone that you filmed, put it together, edit, splice it, add text, get some noise reduction, bring in some YouTube music, use beat detection, and then you put the whole thing together and you just hit upload and it goes right to your channel. So the efficiency of it, if it's anywhere near as good as what they're making it out to be,
can't wait to try it.
I would try it. And if it works well, I'm going to say out of a scale of 1 to 10, that's got to be a good, for me personally, it's probably a 5 about a 5 or a 6. But I think for people who struggle with editing, don't have fancy systems, don't want to learn expensive softwares, the pro-level software, I think this is a 7, 8, or 9, depending on the use case.
And depending on the channel.
Yeah.
If you're doing a lot of screen recording and tutorial work and you need to overlay things, you're going to have to go into your editing app anyway. I'm not sure that this is a big winner for you, but you're not their target audience.
Right.
I'm thinking that as we're having this conversation, I really struggle to make short form content. And for me, I'm a sit in studio, 17 cameras, 18 bits of lights, I need a script or a teleprompter. I really struggle to hold the phone and go, hey, tip of the day is blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I'm wondering whether if it makes it that easy to do, and maybe if I don't have knowing that if I shoot a 30-second video, I'm not going to spend 4 hours in the studio doing it, would that maybe push me to make a little bit more of Instagram content or maybe some YouTube short content on the go?
I think that's another one of those things we talked about. Once we get it in our hands, like we said, Android users right now can go get that app from the App Store, or what do they call it, Google Play, whatever they. So you can actually go download that and use that now. So you can start testing this out and tell us what you think. In the comments below, please, let me know. Download it, test it out. Tell me if you like it, if you guys think it's useful for your creative journey.
Sorry, I'm a security channel, so I've got to mention this. Please make sure you only download the YouTube Create app that comes from Google itself. No lookalike, no anything else, because one of the first things it asks you to do is authenticate your channel so that you can upload. Please do not download any rogue version of this. It should be free. It is free. I've downloaded it already, and it does say Google LLC as part of the company that makes it. Just double check and triple check, because as I was going through it, I went, wait a minute. What if someone made a clone and I'm now giving them my channel access? Right. So I went back, re-downloaded it again just to double check that I was going the right stuff. I just want to throw that out there.
It's a good piece of advice.
Security.
Well, I think overall on the day, in terms of the things that we've seen them release, my take was I thought a lot of these tools that we saw come out are really geared towards the new creator, the smaller channel, people who are having a lot of obstacles, just trying to make content and get that onto YouTube. So for me, I think that's great for them. For the established users, my gut feeling was some of this might be useful, but the majority of it tends to skew towards those newer creators, trying to kick the door open and get the barrier to entry to be a little easier for people who really want to be successful YouTubers down the line. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that YouTube is in a position where it wants to give more people the ability to go out, share their message, share their experiences, share their how-tos, and teach and engage and communicate with the world. So I think it's great that they're making those steps, making it easier for people to do that. There will be some pushbacks. The OG creators or people who have been struggling for many, many years to try get their channels going and understanding their audience, they may be a little bit pissed that the fact that somebody can just push a button and it will just tell them what ideas to make and what kind of content they should do with that audience insight tool. I will say that's the kind of the technology evolution. We used to ride horses to work. Now we drive a car. Well, most of us. You can't kind of complain and get stuck in the past. So I do urge us as creators, us OG, well, I'm with the beard and the gray, us OG creators, not to look at AI and go, it's a shortcut. Everybody can win. We had to work so hard. I will say, let's use it. Let's try it. And then let's make informed decisions, data-driven decisions, as you teach often on the channel. Yep. Look at your analytics, look at your data, compare it to what the tool is telling you, and then together use that as a tool to make better content.
I will say the one thing that caught me way off guard is they mentioned a product that apparently is already out there and in people's hands called the Incubator. And surprisingly, Charlie Puth came out of nowhere up on stage with one of the record executives from Warner Brother Records, a huge record label, and started talking about the Incubator and music integration on YouTube. That took me by surprise. I didn't know this existed, that Charlie was able to just take this, just enter a prompt. Like he entered in 2 lines of a lyric he was thinking about, and then the Incubator provided him with a full song arrangement that was chorus, bass drum, hooks, and it even emulated his voice singing the line over.
Crazy, right?
It was crazy. And I didn't even know. And they were talking about it like we should have known, like, as you know, it's been out in a while. I did not know about that.
And I think that's the whole thing with YouTube and with Google as a company. There is just so much going on. You know, a lot of people like to give YouTube a lot of grief. You took away the dislike button.
Yeah.
Remember how many people complained about taking away YouTube Classic? I dare you to go back to that.
Yeah, please.
So YouTube has got a lot of things going on. And what is super interesting for us, and especially being fortunate to be behind the scenes and getting it at this particular experience, which we're always thankful for, that we get to see behind the curtain a little bit of just how much YouTube cares about the creators.
Right.
They're thinking about problems and issues that we're not even thinking about yet. And then they're reaching out to us as a community and saying, hey guys, tell us where this sucks.
Right.
Tell us why you don't like this. Tell us why you do like it. It's interesting, but tell us why you don't like this.
I will agree. We have to thank YouTube for actually flying us out here and giving us the opportunity to take a look at some of these new features firsthand and giving us some insight so that we can talk to you guys about what you'll be seeing in the upcoming year. So thank you, YouTube, for that. We really appreciate it. Our friend Renee Ritchie, the creator, the YouTube Creator Liaison, really great guy. They've really done a great job of making themselves available to us. And that's one thing that I really think makes YouTube stand apart is they may not always get it right, but it does seem that they are very interested in what we think, and they go out of their way to try to get our input. So most of all, I want to thank you, Liron, for taking a second here to talk to me. Listen, if you have not seen Liron on my channel before, helping you guys figure out how to make sure that your channels are being safeguarded against things like hijacks and how to watch out for potential threats to your channel. We see so many channels getting taken over and getting their content deleted and the channel getting thrown off of YouTube. This is the guy who has all the information to help you watch out for those kind of scams and more. And I'll leave links to his channel in the description below if you want to check him out as well. We'll talk to you guys soon.